ABC News is famous for peddling fake propaganda, like the Syria Massacre Kentucky gun show footage. They were dubiously important in the Jussie Smollett case. Of course, everybody remembers that Good Morning America broadcast. We've got tons of news to cover. Of course, ABC back in the crosshairs after the Project Veritas bombshell, where Amy Robot Westworld is out there talking about planes carrying men to Epstein's island. Epstein was murdered, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody knows it, even Amy Robot. The tunnels and VIP list wasn't enough for everyone. They needed more evidence that something was going on. So they whacked Epstein, and then they laughed at you.
There was no quid pro quo.
Oh, there's no quid pro quo. Of course, the video guy strikes again. We've got video of ABC trying to put out the fire. As you can see, they're not doing a wonderful job. They want this to explode, just like the way they deployed the PSYOP on the Kurdish genocide. Of course, these people are aiding and abetting criminal activity. And we're supposed to be confused about what's going on. This is the new Tavistock PSYOP that's rolling out. We're seeing quite a bit of syndication of various PSYOPs out there. But this is one for the record books, if you will, ladies and gentlemen. They put out an obviously fake video so everybody can bust it and go, look, there is no Turkish genocide out there in Syria. Then came the fake ISIS raid, which was totally busted. Check out the archives there as well. But they just love producing this PSYOPs material. Now, we've got the Amy Robot footage, which is an obvious psychological operation. I mean, the thing was set up so nice and released for your convenience, and she's telling you everything you want to hear, everything you already know. Epstein was murdered. Or is he in Argentina? What is really going on with the Epstein case? Of course, it confirms everything that came out during the WikiLeaks, and we saw what happened to that guy. Ladies and gentlemen, who remembers the Podesta emails, the spirit cooking, the links between Hollywood and Washington, D.C., their child raping, child sacrifice, eyes wide shut kind of ways? These people are obviously a danger to humanity. The various Gladio B events that we've seen over the last 10, 15, 20 years is massive, from 9/11 to Sandy Hook to many others. Ladies and gentlemen, they will stop at nothing. They will murder everyone to get their way. What is their way, ladies and gentlemen? It's the devil's way. It's Route 66. They're out there trying to destroy creation. It's literally the pages of the Bible playing out before your very eyes. These people are of the dark side, worshiping the devil, trying to indoctrinate, groom your children into their occult practices like Eyes Wide Shut, but so much worse. The documents that are coming out with, the finders, the WikiLeaks, the Epsteins, the Podesta files, the works, it's just incredible, and it all confirms, the evidence that's out there. The Epstein case confirms the Podesta files. The Podesta files confirm the Epstein case. Seemingly completely different, yet here they are. And the evidence is being buried. They're trying to control the narrative and talk about something completely different, like the Russians are involved. The Russians are the ones that have interfered in the elections. No discussion about, their child sacrificing, raping ways ladies and gentlemen. We've got endless examples of how corrupt it is, how bad the spin is out there. And it's just like, where do you begin? Of course, you know, what they're doing to children, the extent of the corruption in government is only the tip of the iceberg. What these people are really up to is best described in perhaps the Georgia Guidestones. They're out there trying to murder everybody, poisoning the food, the air, the water, geoengineering, terraforming the planet, spraying you like bugs because you are the bugs to them. And people are wondering, you know, what is going on with the Epstein situation, perhaps. What is going on with the Russians, ladies and gentlemen. That certainly isn't what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on what's coming, their eugenics programs, the final solution, and the like. It's all psyops. Who killed Epstein? Whether or not Epstein was the world's most prolific serial killer or child molester is another story. We've got bigger fish to fry. This new world order is out there deploying death towers in everyone's neighborhoods. You've seen them go up. The amount of evidence out there regarding how evil these death towers are is beyond doubt. These death towers truly cause cancer and a long list of other deadly diseases. It's only prudent to limit your exposure to this type of eugenics program as well as the other eugenics programs that are out there. Getting back to the big news, of course, ABC has been busted again, peddling or trying to manipulate the narrative out there as part of this Luciferian program. Now, they tried to cover up the Epstein case because it obviously implicates, you know, the world's elite government as we know it to this Luciferian child molesting cult out there. So that was a real easy type of psyop for them. But they've also been busted unleashing some rather dastardly psyops, trying to bait a race war in America with the Jussie Smollett case. And, you know, they're talking about their standards, you know, how they were not able to run the Epstein case because it just didn't meet their standards. But when you see them run, you know, the Jussie Smollett case, they didn't seem to have a whole lot of standards there. And they were just super eager to push a race war in this country. Let's listen to just a little bit of this.
He opened up about what he's learned and the bigger message he wants the world to hear. What do you feel people need to hear the most from this story?
I think that what people need to hear is just the truth.
That's the first time he's given a detailed account, an account that Chicago police have said has been consistent. He hasn't changed his story. They also said it's credible. Police have said that, and also that he has been very cooperative.
See how they try to, you know, make you believe their stories? You know, they want you to basically have faith in their stories, ladies and gentlemen.
The attackers are never found. How will you be able to heal?
I don't know. Let's just hope that they are.
And I asked him about if there were other possible threats that he had received, and he did talk about the letter that was sent to the Fox studio where Empire is sent.
The anthrax letter, a federal crime which they haven't prosecuted. Another let's let Hillary go kind of thing, but
police have confirmed that letter, and we'll show it to you. And why do you think you were targeted?
I can just assume. I mean, I come really, really hard against 45.
He was really excited when he saw the camera.
There's no way he could have known the camera was turned away.
No, they didn't know. Detectives didn't know until, and it was inside the casing. It was facing in the other direction, and he had no idea about that. And the vast majority of people have been supportive and loving and understanding. There's many reasons why Jussie wanted to sit down and do this. First was to say thank you to his many supporters, to answer the questions, the critics, but also the times that he became emotional is when he was talking about gay youth and the LGBTQ community. What is it that has you so angry? Is it the attackers?
But he was being pretty forthcoming.
He did not. Nothing was out of bounds. There was nothing that I could not ask. And there is no doubt in your mind what motivated this attack.
I could only go off of their words.
A lot of questions have been raised as well.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of questions, especially about the timing of the 911 call, about the phone records, and Jussie addresses all of that.
Jussie talks about it all, and they seem to, do their best to make this story seem legitimate, just like, everything else that they produce. But in reality, their stories are propaganda, part of the cover-up. And all of these mainstream news outlets that have been sitting on, the big stories for the past few years, they're, aiding and abetting these criminals. Instead of doing, their jobs and talking about, these finder-like groups, these cults that span, from DC to Hollywood, instead of talking about the real news, they make shit up that really has, nothing to do with what people are concerned about. And they're just putting out this, entertainment, if you will, calling it the news, and it's having, a very negative effect on people's perception of what's going on. People need to know that they're being dosed and poisoned and lied to and stolen from and treated like shit, instead of being told that, these people, their imperial masters are, actually their friends and should be their idols and the like. And, these people have, no morals or ethics, and they're going to come out here and, preach to you about what kind of person you should be. And look, the end results speak for themselves. You can tell them by their fruits. Look at our country today compared to what it was just a few years ago. 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Seems like every decade was like a different world. But it took a sharp turn for the worse in the past, 20, 30 years, especially since 9/11. Now look at people out there today. They're running around, out there, like subhumans. Really. You can see the devolution, from one metric to another, but, people are becoming more and more devolved. And look, we could talk about crime statistics and social engineering and, the like. But this is a result of their failure. Not just governance, but as well as holding them to account. The news puts out fake stories to distract people away from the real issues. And people should really be talking about, the eugenics programs, first and foremost, as well as, what these monsters are up to. Now, we wanted to talk about a few other things, that the other current psyop that's running out there that isn't, fully understood yet by people out there. But it's this Judas in disguise that's here to actually destroy the Conservative Party. And he's going to do this by making everybody, basically repeat the lies. More lies, different lies.
Quid pro quo.
Well, maybe. If the video guy... No, it looks like the video
What
guy...
we do know is there was definitely no quid pro quo. I mean, it came out over and over. It was asked probably 20
so you've got
different times.
When this came out, it was quid pro quo. Well, there was none. But the whistleblower comes out with a totally phony...
So, You know, everything has been corroborated by, you know, various ambassadors, the transcripts. It's obvious that there was some pay to play here. And there's really no reason to lie about it. But they are, and they're dragging everybody into it. I mean, I think this is just, you know, how politics are done these days. Either do what I say or, you know, we'll invade. But instead of just kind of like, you know, saying, so what? They're like, no, we didn't do it. Even though it's like all recorded, the transcripts, everything. Yet, you know, here they are, you know, outing whistleblowers, you know, like the Julian Assange thing, you know, over again. This is a recipe of self-destruction. All of this stuff that we know as, you know, Trump 45 and the like is going to blow up in everybody's faces and make everybody look really stupid and just, you know, destroy whatever's left of a conservative resistance in this, you know, during this liberal outbreak, this zombie apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. Any case, we do want to remind people to grab a meter out there. We recommend the EMF 390. You can find it on our website, stfnreport.com. Made in Seattle, ships worldwide. Best meter for the money, 109. Just blows away the competition. Don't get screwed by the El Cheapo from Home Depot that only picks up electric and magnetic fields. You want something that picks up the RF radiation, the microwave radiation that's pumping through, you know, your area, thanks to this eugenics program. And it's even worse in your home. You really want one of these things. Once you know what you're getting dosed with, and you can make the necessary arrangements, you'll be very thankful that you got one, to say the least. Getting back to the big breaking news, of course, the Epstein case continues to drag on because there is no real investigation. And what we do know so far is that the evidence certainly suggests that Epstein was murdered, from the autopsy report to the circumstances that facilitated the quote-unquote suicide. Cameras being turned off. You've got the guards, multiple guards asleep at the same time. You know, every fail-safe was basically just blown away by circumstance, it would seem. In any case, everybody knows that Epstein was whacked. The question is, was Epstein relocated? He was willing to pay $100 million in bond. Perhaps $100 million was spent on something else, like a massive relocation program to Argentina. They found the former associates, Ghislaine Maxwell and the other French dude that was running the, you know, the modeling agency of 12-year-olds from Paris into New York. They found both of them in Brazil. Chances are Epstein's out there somewhere, to say the least. So where are the real investigations? When are we going to get the truth instead of the lies? And that would be a nice change if the politicians could just start telling the truth out there. And what's up with this latest, you know, version of PSYOPs where they're just kind of like telling you to your face that, you know, they're screwing you. And everybody's just kind of like, you know, running around hyper-normalized as if like, well, you know, I guess we'll just repeat the lies because Trump says it, and that's okay. They're all fucking liars, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big club, and you're not in it. I know we had another nice little example of what these people say when they're cornered, but look, there's nothing new under the sun. And as long as people are buying what the television is selling them, we're doomed. It's all fake news, and all of the politicians are the same. You know, you look at all the videos with Epstein and Trump together, and their numerous adventures together on their private planes in Mar-a-Lago. Look, it looks really bad. Then you have the Acosta thing, which is even worse. You know, here's the pedophile prosecutor and the Epstein case, and where does he wind up? In the cabinet. Look, they lock up Assange. They let Hillary go. They give Acosta a promotion, and there's video of these two like everywhere partying together. It's not just like, oh, we met in the lobby. It's like, here, come on my plane, and he's bragging about it in the radio interviews. It's like, yeah, Epstein likes the young girls, but we all love Epstein. Like, welcome back, Cotter. You just couldn't make this shit up. And so, look, you can like whatever you want to like out there, but we're just telling you, what it looks like from our news desk, and that this administration is just set up to sink the entire Republican establishment. You just wait for it. By the end of it, you're gonna want nothing to do with these people ever again. That's the setup. And when you finally see the tan line that you got from wearing your MAGA hat, how dumb it looks once the sun comes up again. Any case, we don't want to spoil it for the dreamers out there that have fallen back asleep and are plugged into the matrix, but this is another flat earth kind of scam here, ladies and gentlemen. And what's ironic is that this footage here was taken just a few days before Epstein was arrested. A glitch in the matrix, if you will. And he was just flipping out. He's like, get out. He probably already knew where this was going. We're not going to get into the predictive programming, the Simpsons, all of that stuff, but all of this is scripted. Nothing in politics happens by chance. That's poli-sci 101. All of this is scripted. All of these people are selling you lies, keeping you distracted so that they can just basically continue with their program, which is Agenda 21, which is the Georgia Guidestones, which is we're going to microchip everybody and plug everybody's ass into the matrix. Literally, the Neuralink. I mean, you just couldn't make this stuff up. And what's really sad is that you actually have to make the argument that there's something to be concerned about here, and you get freaks from I don't know where, San Francisco or some shit like that, coming into the comments, and they're like, this guy is trying to mislead you. It just never ends. Look, people should do their own research. We feel that there should at least be some sort of news channel out there that actually does their fucking job. And I think most of us would rather be doing something else, but it seems like it's a necessity. Like, independent media is a necessity out there because the mainstream media isn't telling you the truth. And what has happened ever since like independent media became a thing, through the various socialist media platforms like Facebook and ScrewTube? What happened after citizen journalists actually made it, out there into the internets? Well, they came and fucking censored everybody, right? The cover up just never ends. And if it's not their misinformation, their propaganda, Tavistock Institute, whatever, then it's the censorship. And then you've got like this quote unquote, bipartisan, wrestling match on television that just kind of suckers you into picking a side so that you can just, be part of their, army of useful idiots out there. It's sad to see so many people fall back asleep after 9/11, after being a truther, all these years. But you have to kind of, be impressed by the level of the psyops. trust the scam out there, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? Because, you know, this whole thing has been, you know, thought through years and years in advance, meticulously. What's operating behind the shadows is worse than anything we can imagine. But there's a name for it, and it's called the devil, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's the Satan Claus that tries to replace what, you know, the Christmas season is supposed to be about. It's the devolution in schools. It's the Luciferian after-school program. It's the, you know, LGBT indoctrination, the grooming, the sexualization of children out there. It's all part of the program, because if you get them while they're young, they'll never be the same again. And, you know, there's all sorts of things you could say about victims of abuse and, you know, where they end up later in life, but it's a sure way to fuck somebody up, and that's why they're just, you know, doing it on a massive scale. And stopping them from doing it is now illegal and considered hate speech. So, you know, whatever the organization is that's dealing with children, from the Boy Scouts to the YMCA, they're all basically there to groom, rape, and molest children. And they're protected by the world's elites. They're protected by, you know, the system. And that's because, you know, this system is exactly what it looks like. And there's, you know, not one of them on television is on your side. And whatever they're putting out there, it's, you know, it's basically to cover up war crimes, cover up the, you know, the rape and molestation of children, to cover up the genocide of Americans and, you know, the world as we know it. These are some major fucking crimes here. This is a big, you know, story. And they're not covering it on the news. So it makes you wonder, well, what the fuck are they doing over there, other than, you know, keeping this country divided and fighting itself instead of focusing on the real issues? And to me, there's no bigger enemy than those that would facilitate the confusion and, you know, basically promote the lies over the truth. These people, you know, want to pretend that they're so virtuous, yet all they do all day long is lie to you and deceive you with these elaborate psychological operations. Why? So that they can continue to irradiate you and gas you and kill you and destroy the planet. Look, something must be done. And instead of protesting, you know, who hurt my feelings, people should be protesting this fucking, you know, genocide cult that's erecting, you know, death towers and monuments like the Georgia Guidestones. You know, what's wrong with people out there? You know, and then they want to come out here and just be like, oh, this guy's just trying to peddle his, you know, EMF meters. You know, if you see what you're getting dosed with, you'll buy two. One for you and one for somebody else. And it's a public service to be able to get people a meter at this price, one that works. Because usually it's $300 or $400, and this is like a fraction of the cost. It makes it affordable for just about everybody. And our strongest recommendation is to check that out on our website, stfnreport.com. Be sure to subscribe to our pages, STFN Reloaded on Facebook. It's like the 10th page, all right? And on Facebook and on ScrewTube, it's this page, Stranger Than Fiction News. And this is like the 10th ScrewTube page as well. Why? Because the truth is not allowed. Why? Because they're trying to rape children and mass murder the fucking planet. And you dumb shits are out there, you know, just sitting on the couch. Like and share. Get this information out there. And then go be a superhero in your community. Sign up for some time at City Council. Talk about the death towers and the fluoride. Start organizing networks around truth instead of lies. Start trying to protect yourselves and your community instead of trying to fight each other over, you know, whose stooge on the television, you know, tells the better lies. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.